Good Monday evening. We are back. It is the 9th of October. It is a very beautiful evening. No problems at all being seen at this time, so not too bad for the time being. But as we go into the end of this next week, we may be seeing some problems, especially where it comes to anything involving the eclipse. Now, again, last week we said it was a pretty good lock for the potential of anything involving rainfall, and then that kind of faded a little bit. Now it's kind of come back by a little bit. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. This is Weather Overtime. If you've never joined us before, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Otta, keeping you updated as to what's going on with weather in and around the Tennessee River Valley, and keeping you updated around the area of northeast Alabama, North Georgia, southeast Tennessee, and back into western North Carolina. The almanac for today, a very toasty one, 12 degrees above normal with that extra sunshine out there, and numbers back in the mid to upper 80s. We have only picked up 3/100 of an inch of rain for the month, so we could definitely use a little bit more across the area. We're about an inch point 10 behind for the month, and about 4.5 inches just over behind for the entire year. So we are way behind. The state of Alabama has issued a fire alert of sorts. There are no active burn bans in effect, but because of moisture levels like this that we have not gotten a lot of, there's a good possibility that anything involving stray spark from a welding torch, a cigarette butt tossed out the window, could start a major wildfire in Alabama and across a good portion of the News 12 viewing area. So we're going to need a little bit more of a soaking than what we got last week, which wasn't all that much, and we could use a lot more of it, but that's not happening anytime soon. Ironic in its way, because September is actually one of the more rainier months around this area of the country, and we just did not pick up too much of anything out of that in the course of the last several days, so we could definitely use a little bit more help with that if at all possible. We'll keep you updated on that. Thanks to Hannah Price for a nice view of a rainbow over Parkview Elementary School. No sign of the pot of gold at either end of the school at this point in time, but that's our Monday West Shore Home weather window picture of the day. Got pictures? We'd love to see what you're seeing out there, so go ahead and send them in to us at pictures@wdef.com, or drop them to our social media channels so we can see what you're seeing out there. Out on the golf course into tomorrow, not much of a problem, although we are looking at some more breezy conditions. Excuse me, and we'll see some sunny conditions at first, but then some more clouds coming on through. Westerly winds at about 5 to 15, occasionally gusting to about 20-25 miles per hour. Again, nothing huge, but it is going to be kind of breezy from time to time out there. A lot of clouds over the area of Island Cove, mainly into northern parts of Tennessee, viewing area counties for News 12, but otherwise not seeing, again, a lot of anything out there. From Chattanooga Red Wolves Stadium, that from Island Cove Marina and Resort, this one from Tomahawk Crane and Rigging Camera. Very light traffic at this time, looking around the area of 75 and 24, and good visibility out towards Signal Mountain in the distance. I-24, both directions, everything moving along nicely in downtown, thanks to the veteran-owned Patriot Concrete camera. Lee Point, traffic was a little heavier earlier. Still some good amounts of travel for right now. Visibility a lot better off to the west and southwest as this camera is pointed down that direction from the Plainview Outdoor Advertising camera. Downtown Chattanooga, spectacular sunset, brief though it was, over portions of the area earlier from the Bailey's Heating and Air camera. And last but not least, from the Speedy's Total Car Care camera on the Chattanooga Theater Center. Temperatures rather on the mild side, and a beautiful Monday evening. Good to take the dog out for a walk or wherever you may be heading. Temperatures in the upper 60s. The really neat thing about this view right here is the dew point. The temperatures on the dew point scale back in the 40s, way below where it was not too long ago. And for some reason, I don't know why, that temperature just shifted. We are still seeing some minor connection issues. I'm not entirely sure what the problem is here, but we may see that again throughout the rest of the evening. So we may see the potential of some numbers flickering on the forecasts here. Let me see if the 7-day forecast holds anything else. Looks like it's okay for now. pardon the gremlins, they do have a tendency of happening from time to time, but it looks like for now we'll be seeing some fairly cool and dry conditions out there for the next couple of hours. No idea what's happening there on that particular thing. All right, as of right now, this is TV news. Sometimes this happens where we have some strange things go on. Got a minor system through here bringing in some of the cloud cover out across portions of the area. But then way on down to our south, we've got another area developing. We are still in hurricane season, remember. So as of right now, we may be looking at the potential of a visitor coming up from the south. This is tropical wave. It's an area of investigation, so it's nicknamed an invest. 93L is the code on this, and this is slowly starting to make its way from the southwestern part of the Gulf of Mexico over to around eastern Mexico, starting to curve up to the northwest by just a little bit. Now, it's possible in the next couple of days that we could see this system make its way a little bit closer to us after it curves back toward the north. And that, again, is where we may see some of our clouds and rain coming up into the course of the next couple of days. But we could see, again, the potential of some moisture coming up this direction into and around the area here. Jeff Peterson, yes, I was watching that, and so far not seeing anything definite that we're going to be winding up with anything in and around those particular areas. But Max and Lida are still at this point in time just tropical storms, and it looks like for the next couple of days they are going to try to head to the east, and we're talking about this mess over here. But we may see, again, this make its way on through. The problem is between the Pacific and the Gulf, there's an awful lot of mountainous terrain here, some very high mountains, and that could shred these systems very easily. So we'll wait and see what happens with those. Oh, Lydia, pardon me, not Lida, Lydia. That also is heading in the same direction that Max is, but for right now, it looks like it may become a hurricane in the next 24 hours or so, and then quite possibly as a tropical storm downgraded by early Wednesday. Whether or not either of these two systems out here make their way across the Isthmus of Mexico, kind of hard to see at this point, so we'll see what happens. But again, for right now, the low-level moisture will more than likely be scraped by the mountains down in southern Mexico, so we'll see what goes on there. Appreciate the invitation. If we're ever in the Dunlap area, might have to see if we can stop by for a little bit and chat about that. Thank you very much for being neighborly in that. What we're going to be seeing from this particular system, this is not the S-name storm. Looks like that's farther out into the Atlantic. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little while. For the most part, this particular system, the spaghetti models are showing the indication of this storm going up, curving along the northern and western part of the Gulf, and then possibly impacting land around the Delta and into around the panhandle of portions of Florida. Again, with areas like this, with the area of low pressure rotating around, this could, as it gets a little closer to us, push a lot of moisture up our direction. So we might see the potential of some rain coming in with this system, maybe some breezier conditions as well. We'll see how well that goes in the next couple of days. But right now, conventional weather wisdom is to have this system making its way up and to the eventually north and east, and that's what's going to be affecting our weather toward the end of the week. Through tonight and into tomorrow, just clouds off and on, lows back in the mid-50s or so, mid to upper 70s as we go through tomorrow afternoon, so very close to normal, maybe a little bit above normal on the temperatures. More clouds expected by early Wednesday morning, temperatures back in the lower 50s, upper 60s, close to 70 degrees for Wednesday afternoon. Computer models putting in a shower or a thunderstorm around Atlanta on Wednesday afternoon around drive time. And then as we get closer to around Thursday morning, if you live in northwest Georgia, northeast Alabama, the computer model's putting in a decent amount of some showers taking place. For right now, the problem with this is the farther north this moisture goes, the more it gets into some very dry and very stable air. So doubtful a lot of this is going to remain and probably won't see too much out of this. We're still a couple of days away from this, so going to wait and see what exactly this winds up being. But for Thursday morning, between us, our counties here in the News 12 viewing area, and Atlanta, there could be some showers, could be a slow travel route between Birmingham, Atlanta, and Chattanooga, so something to think about there. That moves off into early Thursday afternoon, and temperatures once again back into the mid to upper 70s with a few clouds mixed in with some sunshine, so decently mild there. The main thing we're looking at for us across much of the area here will be the potential of some rain coming in Thursday and Friday. Now, hopefully that leaves. We'll take a look at the forecast for, again, Friday into Saturday, but for right now, Thursday and Friday appear to be the best opportunities for rain. Kind of breezy tomorrow. Again, not enough for a wind advisory, but we will see again some scattered showers by the end of the week. And then into next week after this, next Monday, that's where the temperatures really start to bottom out by just a little bit, back in the lower 60s, and lows possibly dropping into the lower 40s. Still not seeing any temperatures near freezing, so I really doubt we're going to be seeing too much of anything else from that particular system coming on through. But again, that's the best chance of rain we've got, and we could use the rainfall, so hopefully we'll get something out of this anyway into the next couple of days. All right, focusing in on the weather specifically, again, the annular solar eclipse, so named because it won't be a total solar eclipse. The path of maximum coverage of the eclipse will be well to our west. We will see about a 50% coverage chance. Again, kind of looking like part of an Oreo covering the frosting. That's about as much as we will see here in and around the News 12 viewing area. What we're looking for in the way of rain, and this will change into the next couple of days, so that by the time the eclipse begins right before noon, comfortable temperatures and maybe a shower left over, so some mostly cloudy skies. Hopefully that clears by the time the eclipse is over with. Maximum eclipse will occur at about 1 o'clock, and then the eclipse will be over with within about 90 minutes after that, and some temperatures will be a little cooler thanks to the sun being blocked out by the lunar surface. So we will see maybe some lower temperatures by just a little bit, but hopefully we get rid of the rainfall. Now, right now, I'm taking the optimistic route of saying isolated showers. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we get cleared out, and there's still plenty of time. We just have to actually get there to where we get the potential for the rain to leave out of the picture. But for right now, it's improving, but it's still not perfect, where we could see the potential of some problems with the rainfall out there. And that, again, is what we're hoping for. This is, again, kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing to be able to see at some points. Really neat to be able to take a look at this. And for those of you who say, ho-hum, it's just the moon going in front of the sun, the lineup of both of those celestial bodies doesn't occur all that often. It does happen from year to year, but where you can actually view it yourself safely, that's one of the coolest things about astronomy, is being able to look at events like this. It's an event that we can all marvel at. It's something that can really improve our knowledge of science. It's just something you don't see every day, so it's really neat to be able to take a look at this. And hopefully we get a chance to see this. Hopefully the clouds begin to head out of the picture and stay out of the picture. We'll be monitoring that in the next few days to see what happens. All right, for right now, the last that I saw, and I did not update this before I made my way on to the interwebs for tonight, but the last I checked, it was 2020 on the percentage for the next 2 to 7 days. That's good news on that. For our next visitor, and this one looks like it may be the S-named storm, which would be Sean, S-E-A-N. That'll be coming up in the next few days. This one just off the coast of Africa. The one in the Gulf way over here, several thousand miles to the east. We've got our next visitor. This one could become Tropical Storm Sean in the course of about the next day or two. But for right now, it is still just an area of investigation. There's no cohesion to it, and it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing anything out of this, at least immediately. But it is possible that we could see something out of this, and still at a 70 to 80% chance of development as this system moves its way away from Africa and out over the central Atlantic. Could this be a threat? to the United States, of course, but for right now, it depends on the steering winds. And if it's going this far northwest this quickly, I doubt we're really going to be seeing too much of anything out of this. It looks like this is maybe destined to be another fish storm, so hopefully it'll stay that way. We'll give you updates on that throughout the next few days, but if you know anybody named Sean, S-E-A-N, this could be their storm coming up in the course of the next few days on that. So remember, about 5 days until the eclipse, about 10 days to go. Today is the 9th of October. And the 19th, in 10 days, the world's largest earthquake drill will be coming up. Your opportunity to practice earthquake safety. Yes, we don't get many earthquakes around here. I get that. But to be better prepared for earthquakes, for tornadoes, for anything that might happen, instead of running around trying to figure out what your plan is when a disaster happens, planning ahead of time, best idea possible. Winging it is not a plan. So if you're able to get something like this taken care of and participate in this drill to learn more about earthquakes, to learn more about what may happen, and to how you can be better prepared for communication, for supplies, for making certain that you have a plan in place. Where's the best place to go to? Where's the best place for your family to congregate? Which one of your family members will your family check in when local communication has problems? And it might happen. You just can't sit there and say, oh, I don't have to worry about it. It's never happened before, so therefore I don't have to ever worry about it ever in my lifetime. It's best to practice for this. It's best to get ready just in case, so please keep that in mind and go to shakeout.org to learn more about the great American shakeout and everything that goes on around the world as well. At shakeout.org, your opportunity to learn more about what goes on and how to participate in the drills out there. So please keep that in mind and get ready now. Think about, again, we're coming up on storm season number 2, so it's best for late October through early December in this area of the country to have a plan ready to go. Where do you go for severe weather? Do your kids know where to go for severe weather? If your kids are at home, you're out shopping, and something happens, do they know what to do if and when you're not around? It's something to ask yourself. And no, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm trying to make certain everybody is better prepared for a situation. Panic never helps nobody. Excuse me, the English teachers out there are gritting their teeth at me right now for saying that. But it's something to think about to make certain that you know where to go to and what to do, and that includes your kids, your family. That, again, is one of the things that you can learn here at shakeout.org to find out more details about what you could do to make yourself, your family, your place of worship, your business, your school better prepared for what might happen. It's just one of the best things you can possibly do. All right, off my soapbox. That should pretty well take care of everything here for tonight. Updates available at wdef.com/weather. And, of course, we'll have more on the forecast online through, again, the next couple of days. Jeff Peterson, possibility of Apophis getting close to 2029 or 2034. That depends. You're going to have to ask the planetary scientists who are more learned than I am. I know that there is a chance that Apophis has a chance that if it threads a particular window, going through that window at a certain distance could bring it closer for another pass in 2034, as you say. Whether or not that happens, again, that is something we're going to have to think about, because the orbits of the debris that is going through the solar system gets affected by gravity from other things, from the sun, from plasma bursts from the sun that can cause drag, and that can cause the orbits of all that debris out there to change and shift. And considering we live and exist going around the sun in a just absolutely huge gravel pit filled with stuff floating through the solar system, we didn't even know about Oumuamua, if I'm saying that correctly, until it was all the way past the sun and going past the Earth out toward Mars. So that is something to really consider at this point in time. Do I think it's possible? Yes. Do these scientists say that it's possible? Yes, it is, again, possible that it could thread that window and become a secondary threat, it could also miss our planet entirely and go sailing off into interstellar space, never to be heard from again. So it's very possible on all of that. I think we'll know more in the next few years. This could be a great opportunity to practice asteroid deflection, studying the asteroids so we know exactly how to move stuff like that out of the way so that we keep our planet a livable, breathable atmosphere where we all can exist. And I think that's very important for everybody to think about, and that's something to think about when you're electing your next officials. Do they know about science? Do they know anything about the asteroids that float around the solar system, and about how the better we know about science and things like asteroids and mathematics and engineering and technology, then the better off we will all be protected from a planetary extinction event. And as Neil deGrasse Tyson has said, the dinosaurs never saw their asteroid coming. What's our excuse for not knowing when something like that becomes a threat? So I think it's a very important question to ask, and I'm glad that you raised it, but I think it's something that everybody needs to take a look at when electing people from city council to the Congress to the presidency of the United States, and in every single country. Everybody should consider that for their leaders, about which one of these people that you're putting into high office to make the decisions is scientifically literate. It needs to happen, and you can't have a scientifically illiterate electorate electing people who also don't know anything about science. As Carl Sagan and Dr. Tyson have said, that's a recipe for disaster. So that's something we all need to be concerned about. I'm sure that my elected representatives are tired of hearing from me on things like this, but I find it important for planetary health and security. So it's something that we should all be involved in instead of sticking our fingers in our ears and humming really loud and hoping that it doesn't happen. We can't take that attitude. All right, that should do it for tonight. I'll have more on News 12 at 11. Chip Chapman will have more on the forecast. Hopefully no computer gremlins interrupting him either for this evening. And of course, we'll have more throughout the rest of the week, so stay tuned for more on that. As always, check out the forecast and a repeat of Weather Overtime that's always available at WDEF.com/weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onig. This has been Weather Overtime for Monday, the 9th of October. Happy birthday again to my wife, celebrating her 29th again birthday. Not going to tell you how old she is because even I don't know, really. But happy birthday to Melissa. Love you, and again, glad to be celebrating with you over the last few years that we have. More again on your forecast. Stay tuned for that tonight at 11 and early on the morning show tomorrow. Thanks for joining us for Weather Overtime for Monday, the 9th of October.